Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the future of logistics by unpacking the warehouse automation trends for 2026. Now, if you're thinking the warehouse of the future is just about rushing out to buy the absolute fastest, shiniest new robot on the market, well, you might be in for a bit of a surprise. We're going to explore how the real magic, the true game-changing efficiency, actually happens in the connections between the machines rather than just the hardware itself. I am super excited to guide you through this, so let's just jump right in. So there's this slightly uncomfortable truth in the industry. A warehouse can contain robots and still run really badly. Picture this for a second. You've just installed this state-of-the-art, lightning-fast picking robot. It zips through the aisles, grabbing items, and finishes its task way ahead of schedule. Awesome, right? Well, then it just sits there, completely idle, right next to a massively overloaded packing station. Meanwhile, the gate outside is backed up, your loading dock is entirely empty, and someone is frantically calling a driver who actually checked in 20 minutes ago. In that scenario, all that robotic speed means absolutely nothing. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the automation illusion, the forces driving evolution, and the shift to orchestration. Then we'll look at the tech trends for 2026, uncover hidden integration challenges, and wrap it all up with a blueprint for doing it right. Section 1. The automation illusion. Let's talk about why isolated tech falls short. Look, modern hardware is becoming incredibly capable. AI is weaving its way into our daily workflows, and autonomous vehicles are so much easier to deploy now than they were even just a couple of years ago. But here's the thing. A warehouse full of disconnected machines is really just a collection of isolated islands. Like we were just saying, a lightning-fast picking machine has virtually zero value if the packing station right next to it simply can't keep up. If one system knows a shipment just hit the dock, but your other system still shows that truck out on the highway, the whole process breaks down. The crucial takeaway here? Connected beats isolated every single time. Moving on to Section 2, forces driving evolution. What are the big three forces pushing this change? We really need to understand why warehouse automation is evolving faster right now than ever before in supply chain history. It essentially boils down to three colliding forces. First up, rising customer expectations. Customers might never see the inside of your facility, but trust me, they notice your operational cracks immediately. A missing item or a stock figure that suddenly updates after they check out, that's a problem that shows up right at their front door. Second, labor shortages and efficiency. The issue isn't just a lack of headcount, it's about where your highly skilled employees are spending their time. Having them walk literally kilometers per shift or push empty carts completely wastes their valuable experience. Automation absorbs all that grunt work so your humans can focus on the hard decisions. And third, AI is finally leaving the pilot zone. We are way past those vague digital transformation buzzwords. AI is out there right now, practically handling slotting, sequencing, and forecasting on the actual warehouse floor. Section 3. The shift to orchestration. This is all about connecting the ecosystem. You know, there's a massive gap between simply managing your inventory and actually orchestrating a living, breathing, connected ecosystem. Let's break it down. Your warehouse management system, or WMS, answers what needs to happen by tracking inventory and orders. Then your warehouse control system, the WCS, talks directly to the machines and answers how will the equipment do it. Next, the execution system, the WES, asks what should happen right now by handling the work release. But take a look at that very bottom row, orchestration. Orchestration watches the entire room. It asks, how should the operation respond? It manages people, software, machines, and all those unpredictable, messy exceptions at the exact same time. It might even intentionally slow down one process just to prevent another station down the line from drowning. Counterintuitive? Yeah, maybe a little, but incredibly effective. Section 4. Tech Trends Defining 2026. Let's check out the movers and the thinkers. Our sources outline about 15 distinct tech trends for the next few years. But to make it easy, let's group them logically. We'll start with the physical hardware. I call them the movers. Autonomous mobile robots, or AMRs, are insanely popular right now because they can actually reroute themselves if an aisle gets blocked. Older guided vehicles just couldn't do that. Then we have collaborative robots, or cobots. What's fascinating here is they don't have to own a whole process. They might just hold an item in place or help stack cases. Get this. Cobots actually hit 10.5% of all industrial robot installations globally back in 2023. That is huge. Then there's goods-to-person automation. This literally reverses the traditional picking journey so the actual inventory travels to the employee. Talk about eliminating expensive walking time. And finally, automated storage and retrieval systems, or ASARS. which use cranes and shuttles to absolutely maximize a building's storage density. All right, now let's shift over to the data-driven trends, or the thinkers. One of the most powerful tools out there right now is the digital twin. Now, a digital twin isn't just some beautiful 3D model you show off to executives in a boardroom. It is a crucial, safe place to be totally wrong. It's basically a sandbox that allows your teams to test a brand new layout, simulate a crazy holiday peak, or change staffing assumptions, all without ever disrupting the live, beating heart of your actual physical facility. It's really all about preventing those painfully expensive surprises. Building on that data foundation, we've got AI and analytics. AI-powered optimization can actively reshuffle priorities live when a massive rush order unexpectedly drops in. AI vision systems use cameras that never need a coffee break or get bored halfway through a 12-hour shift, perfectly catching torn packaging or missing items. Then you have predictive maintenance. This is wild. It reads subtle vibrations and heat signatures to warn you before a critical piece of equipment fails. It's like it can feel a breakdown coming. And the Industrial Internet of Things, or IIoT, connects machinery that previously worked in total isolated silence. Quick warning about real-time analytics, though, you have to design them carefully. Because if your shiny new analytics dashboard just makes everything flash red all at once, well, then absolutely nothing has priority. We also have to briefly touch on the invisible work. Hyperautomation tackles the administrative machinery. We have to remember that some of the absolute slowest work in a warehouse happens without a single pallet in sight. I'm talking about approvals, manual document checks, repetitive data entry. This invisible administrative flow has to be connected alongside sustainable green automation practices and resilient cloud-native platforms to truly modernize your whole operation. Which brings us to Section 5, Hidden Integration Challenges. Let's wade into the messy middle. Of course, it's not all just perfectly synchronized robots seamlessly humming along. When we actually try to plug all these distinct systems into one another, well, the robot is rarely the most difficult part. The crucial trap so many facilities fall into is automating inefficient processes. Think about it. If you have a needless, annoying approval step in your workflow, it remains a completely needless approval, even when you automate it. A duplicate scan is still a duplicate scan. You have to simplify your operations first. If you skip that step, you are essentially just paying top dollar to create a much faster version of the exact same confusion. And beyond just bad processes, there is the harsh reality check of integration. First is the complexity of dealing with legacy systems. You're basically untangling years and years of improvised workarounds and local rules. Then there's the budget. You aren't just buying hardware here. You have to budget for what's known as the messy middle, those rough weeks when productivity inevitably dips during the transition. We also have to retrain our workers to handle complex exceptions, shifting their judgment to interpret how the system behaves. And finally, cybersecurity. Every single connected sensor or camera expands your risk surface. Organizations like NIST are practically shouting from the rooftops that connected devices have to be treated as part of a wider system risk, not just as harmless standalone gadgets. Section 6, Blueprint for Doing It Right. Let's connect the dots. So how do we practically adopt all these incredible technologies without just building more of those isolated islands? Well, here is a clear 5-step blueprint from our sources. Step 1, start with the bottleneck, not the machine. Find a real problem you can physically observe before and after you invest. Step 2, prioritize scalable technologies. Modularity gives you the breathing room to learn and grow. Step 3, build an integration strategy early on. Map the information journey and ask the boring questions, like what actually happens when a system message fails? Step 4, measure operational KPIs like dwell time. Look, a faster peaking zone is definitely not a victory if dispatch suddenly becomes a massive new queue. And Step 5, train with real exceptions. Don't just use perfect sunny day scenarios. Let your employees practice handling an unreadable smudged label or a failed network connection, because honestly, that is the messy reality of the job. Ultimately, the better automated warehouse notices what is happening and responds before the problem travels downstream. True success in 2026 relies completely on end-to-end integration and orchestration. It's really not about the sheer volume of shiny machinery you manage to collect. It is entirely about ensuring your whole operation responds as one fluid, living system to live real-world conditions. Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. Is your warehouse just collecting machinery, or is it actually paying attention? Take a hard look at your operations this week and challenge your current supply chain strategy. Are your systems truly talking to each other, or are they just working in the dark? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you rethink how to connect the dots in your own operations.